So now people are, team members get to know each other, they start working together, and they start to have more psychological safety. So they start to share their real opinion, and that leads to conflict. Yeah. So team members express disagreement, but it has to be done constructively. And there's a clearly understood escalation path for issues that the team may not be able to resolve on its own. That's the conflict resolution. And it's very important because if this cannot be done effectively, the team can lead to, dismantlement. So when the team is in the storming phase, when it starts to have conflict, it's very important to have conflict resolution approach. And I think managing competing priority was one of the key challenges that you identified in the survey. And that is very natural because many of us work in globally dispersed teams that have multiple geographies, multiple functions, and multiple business units and product groups. So we all have competing priorities, and these impact team effectiveness. And this really impact trust issues. We have separate reporting relationships, conflicting metrics, different customer demands. Some, for example, the customer in the US wants speed. Customer in Japan wants quality. That takes time. And then there's different customer demands, and that builds conflict among team members. Organizational structure and strategy can be different in different regions or different functions. So these all structural causes leads to trust issues and conflict among team members. And we need to manage it because especially we need to manage them early on before it becomes a serious issue. Sometimes I'm requested by the clients to do some team building to fix the team. Like team is they really dislike each other. I often work for teams that have offices in Japan because I am Japanese, I'm based in Japan, APAC, and Europe and US. And they dislike each other because they don't trust each other. They see the other regions are not performing well. But when we analyze it, it's not because people are not working hard. Everybody's working hard. But because of these structural causes, people start to have conflict. But it's very difficult to amend the conflict once it's happened. It's very difficult to recover trust once it's damaged. So it's very important to manage this early on before the issue is too serious. So there are two types of conflict: substantive conflict and affective conflict. Substantive conflict is more task-related. It typically stems from disagreements related to what needs to be done or how to achieve it. For example, necessary actions don't match the need. Competition for resources, I think you're all familiar with that. And interdependent functions, or because, for example, like finance department do not provide the approval, I cannot move forward. These interdependent functions, task-related. Affective conflict is more relationship-related. It typically stems from disagreements related to interpersonal issues like work ethic, perceived value add or behavior, and does not relate to the job at hand, like style preference. Some people like to speak up during the meeting. Some people wants to listen. Those style differences could lead to conflict. Differing values, goals, and skills, and differing approach. And sometimes I see some conflict between like European members and the US members about the concept of vacation. Like, how can you take such a long vacation? So forth. So different values, lifestyles. So here's another polling question for you. Which type of conflict do you see more often in your team? So this one, you just select one. Probably you'll experience both, but let's choose one. Substantive conflict, task-related, or affective conflict, relationship-oriented. Okay, Rachel, let's look at the results. So it's almost 50-50. Substantive conflict, 48, and slightly higher for affective conflict, but it's almost 50-50. Okay, thank you for responding. And the reason I asked this is the way we should manage conflict is different depending on the type of conflict. So overall, the desired outcome of conflict management is to minimize affective conflict that comes from, like work style differences, interpersonal issues. We want to minimize it. But in terms of substantive conflict, we don't want to illuminate it. Different opinion, different way of doing things. That's good. We want to share. We want to create enough psychological safety so people can share different opinion on how to get things done, because there's, a source of innovation. There's lots of data that supports that diversity of thoughts or cognitive diversity leads to more creativity and innovation. So we don't want to suppress that. We want to leverage it. Cultural diversity that we have in global teams often leads to diversity of opinions, work styles, and experiences, which can cause both type of conflict. But if you can manage these conflicts, these diversity factors or differences can become a source of innovation and high performance in global teams. So definitely, we want to manage substantive conflict to a moderate and useful level and minimize affective conflict. Preference and behavior. No, let me check some chats. There are some questions. Let me check. Is it possible that a conflict may show up as substantive? That's a good point. I think it does. Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I might have personally done that. Yeah, depending on who, like maybe I share as a substantive conflict, but deep down there's some, negative feeling towards that person. Yeah, I think it's true. So we need to look at both, and we need to go deeper into really analyzing what type of conflict I'm dealing with. Thank you for bringing this up. And there are many conflict management tools. Like the famous one is the Thomas Kilmann conflict model, which I think is a very good tool that will help you understand your default mode of managing conflict. And I also encourage you to apply intercultural lens by using these global smart dimensions of culture or work style, because people have different preferences and behaviors in conflict management. For example, people who are independent and individual, they want to consider individual conflicts only and prefer to deal with them one-on-one. Whereas people who are more interdependent and group-oriented, they consider the impact of conflict on the group and team as a whole and wants to discuss as a group. Or people who are direct, they feel it's better to just talk about it directly, openly discuss it. People who are indirect, that approach will worsen the conflict. We want to choose words carefully. So how we want to manage conflict is different. And the way you want to manage conflict, which is shown maybe in a Thomas Kilmann conflict model, might not be the same approach for other people. So it's important to always understand your style and your colleague's style.